Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Nadia Rajput from DESI TV USA. Let's have a look at the headlines. European leaders on Sunday slammed US President Donald Trump's threat of tariffs over their opposition to his designs on Greenland, warning transatlantic ties were at risk. Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara on Sunday announced a deal with the chief of Kurdish-led forces that includes a ceasefire after government troops advance across Kurdish-held areas of the country's north and east. Donald Trump returns to the Davos Sky Resort next week after unleashing yet another avalanche on the global order, but for the US president, his main audience is back home. Limited internet access has returned in Iran, a monitor said Sunday, 10 days after authorities imposed a communications blackout that rights groups have said was aimed at masking a violent protest crackdown that killed thousands. Let's look into details. Several European countries, including Denmark, of which Greenland is an autonomous territory, said they stand united against Trump's vow on Saturday to hit them with tariffs of up to 25% unless Greenland is ceded to the United States. Tariffs threat undermines transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. Britain, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden warned in a joint statement. Denmark's foreign minister said in Norway that Trump's ultimatum threatened the world order as we know it and the future of the NATO military alliance. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said Sunday he had spoken to Trump about the security situation in Greenland and the Arctic and hoped to talk again at this week's Davos summit. He didn't elaborate on their conversation. EU ambassadors were meeting in Brussels Sunday after the European Union called an extraordinary general meeting in response to Trump's statement. Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara on Sunday announced a deal with the chief of Kurdish-led forces that includes a ceasefire after government troops advanced across Kurdish held areas of the country's north and east. The agreement, which will also see the Kurdish administration and forces integrate into the state, marks a blow for the minority, which has long held ambitions of preserving the de facto autonomy they had exercised over areas they held for over a decade. It comes after deadly clashes in the Syrian city of Raqqa on Sunday between Kurdish-led forces and local fighters loyal to Damascus. The deal follows months of stalled negotiations between authorities and the Kurds on integrating their administration and forces into the central government. Shara announced the ceasefire to reporters on Sunday, saying he had been scheduled to meet the chief of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, Mazloum Abdi, but it was postponed until Monday due to poor weather.
Now I am American. I have citizen.
I still have my Salvadorian passport and now I have my USA passport. I am a citizen of the US.
Khi cầm cái hộ chiếu Mỹ, cô rất là tự hào mình là công dân Mỹ.
La ciudadanía para mí significa oportunidades.
Si ya tienen el tiempo que pueden hacerse ciudadanas, que lo hagan.
No pierde nada uno con intentarlo.
Como dicen en México, echándole ganas, todo se puede.
Donald Trump returns to the Davos Sky Resort next week after unleashing yet another avalanche on the global order, but for the US president, his main audience is back home. Trump's first appearance in 6 years at the gathering of the world's political and global elite comes amid a spiraling crisis over his quest to acquire Greenland. Fellow leaders at the mountain retreat will also be eager to talk about other shocks from his first year back in power, from tariffs to Venezuela, Ukraine, Gaza, and Iran. Yet for the Republican president, his keynote speech among the Swiss peaks will largely be aimed at the United States. US voters are angered by the cost of the living despite Trump's promises of a golden age, and his party could be facing a kicking in crucial midterm elections in November. Limited internet access has returned in Iran, a monitor said Sunday, 10 days after authorities imposed a communications blackout that rights groups have said was aimed at masking a violent protest crackdown that killed thousands. Iran's president warned that an attack on the country's supreme leader would be a declaration of war, an apparent response to U.S. counterpart Donald Trump saying it was time to look for new leadership in Iran. Demonstrations sparked in late December by anger over economic hardship exploded into protests, widely seen as the biggest challenge to the Iranian leaders in years. They rarely subsided after the crackdown that right groups have called a massacre carried out by security forces under the cover of a communications blackout that started on January 8 as the protest grew in size and intensity. Iranian officials have said the demonstrations were peaceful before turning into riots and blamed foreign influence from Iran's arch foes, the United States and Israel. That's all for now. Keep watching DESI TV USA. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And don't forget to watch our channels DTVNN and DESI Urdu TV.
Now I am American. I have citizen.
I still have my Salvadorian passport, and now I have my USA passport. I am a citizen of the US.
Khi cầm cái hộ chiếu Mỹ, con rất là tự hào mình là công dân Mỹ.
La ciudadanía para mí significa oportunidades.
Si ya tienen el tiempo que pueden hacerse ciudadanas, que lo hagan.
No pierde nada uno con intentarlo.
Como dicen en México, echándole ganas, todo se puede.
Neurological care is a pressing healthcare challenge in Pakistan. That's why Helping Hand USA is building Kind R, a world-class hospital with 130-plus clinics that is set to establish new standards for neurological care in Pakistan. As the first phase nears completion, anticipation is growing for the launch in the second half of 2025. Give zakat and sadaqah through Helping Hand USA today and join this historic endeavor to redefine future healthcare in Pakistan.